Hey, so welcome back to my notes. We're going to be doing distance formula today, so you're going to want to need a calculator, and it's only a one sheet of paper notes, distance on the front and finding midpoint on the back, okay? So we have seen distance formula. Believe it or not, if you remember back to algebra, we use the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points. 2 points that we denoted as x1, y1 and x2, y2. It's just saying that this is point 1 and this is point 2 that we're using in our equation. So the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared all over the square root. You may have seen the equation as x1 minus x2 and y1 minus y2, as long as you keep the order of the points the same. So as long as if x2 is here, y2 has to be your first number, okay? So let's find the distance of number 1. I'm going to name these points A and B. So first, what is the point of A? The coordinates of A is -5, 3. And what are the coordinates of B? It is -2, -3, okay? So all we have to do is plug this into our equation. So also name them x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have -2 minus -5 squared plus -3 minus 3 squared. And then all we have to do is solve it. So when you have a negative minus a negative number, it turns into a positive. So what we're really doing here is we're doing -2 plus 5, which is +3. And -3 minus 3 is a -6. What is 3 squared? It is 9. And 6 squared is 36. 9 plus 36 is the square root of 45. And I'm okay if you just have the square root of 45 there. That's fine. Okay, let's try to find the distance of AB. So distance is equal to, remember to write your coordinates to help you out as x1, y1 and x2, y2. So we have 3 minus -4 squared plus -1 minus 1 squared. -3 minus -4, that becomes a positive sign. So 3 plus 4 is 7 squared plus -2 squared. 7 squared is 49, and -2 squared is 4. So 49 plus 4 is a square root of 53, and we're okay there. Remember, you can stop the video at any point and you want to try these on your own and then press play and see if you got it right. Okay, so the distance is equal to 11 plus 7 squared and 3 plus 2 squared. So what I did is I just automatically, since we're doing 11 minus -7, I just turned it to a positive, and the same thing here. So we get 18 squared plus 5 squared. 18 squared is 324 plus 25, and 324 plus 25 is 349. Okay. We're going to talk about the midpoint formula now. Midpoint, if I ask you what is the midpoint of Milton to Danville, you're going to kind of tell me somewhere that's in between. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to find the coordinate of the point that falls in between these 2 points. And to find midpoint, we add our x's, so we add x1 plus x2 and divide it by 2, and y1 plus y2 over 2. So, and it's going to be an ordered pair. So this is going to be the x, this is going to be the y. Okay? So we're going to find the midpoint of GH given these two. So we add them together. So 7 plus 9 and divided by 2, and -5 minus 1 and divided by 2. Okay? 7 plus 9 is 16, so 16 over 2, and -6 over 2, which then turns to 8 comma -3 is our ordered pair. Okay, let's find the midpoint here. We're going to add our x's together, so -7 plus 3 over 2, and 4 plus negative 4 over 2. So negative 7 plus 3 is a negative 4 over 2, and 0 over 2 is over here. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and 0 divided by 2 is just 0. So now the next section here, we're trying to find a missing endpoint. So that means given coordinates A, and M is the midpoint of AB, and B has these coordinates, we want to find A. So that's just like saying, here's segment AB, and M is in the middle. We know M as negative 1, 2, and we know B as 3, negative 5. How do we find that point A? So, and to do so, what we're going to do is we're going to take our midpoint formula and we're going to split it into 2. So, on the front side, we said we had XM, and I'm doing sub M as like our midpoint, and YM, we just did X1 plus X2 and divided it by 2, and Y1 plus Y2 and divided by 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this X and we're going to have an equation. So we have XM is equal to X1 plus X2 over 2, and YM is equal to Y1 plus Y2 over 2. So all we did is we kind of took that so that we could write an equation so we can solve for a missing variable, which is going to be our missing endpoint. So M is our midpoint, and this is our endpoint B. So we have our X and midpoint is equal to our endpoints added together and divided by 2. Now we're trying to find an endpoint, so this should be X. Okay, so now how do we solve an equation that has a variable and has a number in the bottom and the variable on top? We have to multiply by both sides first. So we get negative 2 is equal to 3 plus X, and then subtract by 3 to get negative 5 is equal to X. And now we're going to do the same thing. Here is our midpoint, so 2 is equal to negative 5 plus Y over 2. Again, we need to multiply by 2 on both sides. So 4 is equal to negative 5 plus Y. Add, and we get 9 is equal to Y. So what is our midpoint? It is negative 5, 9, because this was the X and this was the Y. Okay, K is the midpoint and L is an endpoint of JL. So we have negative 5 is equal to negative 8 plus X over 2. Negative 10 is equal to negative 8 plus X. And we get negative 2 is equal to X. 10 is equal to 6 plus Y over 2. 20 is equal to 6 plus Y. Subtract, and we get 14 is equal to Y. So our coordinate here is negative 2, 14. Remember, you can always stop the video or replay anything if I'm going too fast. Here's our midpoint, endpoint P of PR. So we have negative 1 is equal to 5 plus X over 2. Negative 2 is equal to 5 plus X. Subtract, and you get negative 7 is equal to X. 3 is equal to 6 plus Y over 2. 6 is equal to 6 plus Y. When we subtract, we get 0 is equal to Y. So negative 7, 0. Okay, this is just some practice algebra. This is what we learned a couple days ago about segment midpoint. So P is the midpoint of XY, and XP is equal to 8x minus 7, and PY is equal to 12x minus 3. We want to find the value of X. So when we have P as a midpoint, that means that XP and PY are going to be the same length. So 8x minus 2 is equal to 12x minus 30. We get 4x is equal to 28. X is equal to 7. G is the midpoint of FG. FH. So FG is this and GH is that. We need to find FH. So that means 14x plus 25 is the same distance as 73 minus 2x. So we get 16x is equal to, we're going to subtract to get 48, and x is equal to 3. Now to find FH, we kind of need to plug it into one of these and then multiply by 2. So 14 times 3 plus 25 is equal to 67, and 67 times 2 is 134. So that is our answer, 134. We're going to use this diagram to answer the question, and we're using the information that n bisects this. So when you think of bisect, that means you're going to cut something in half. So that means these two sides are equal to each other. So we can set them equal and solve for x. We get 2x is equal to 24, x is equal to 12. So now we want to find QP here. We're finding QP, so that means we want to plug 3 times 12 plus 25, so we get an answer of 41. All right, hope that helped.